All right, you guys, I am so excited to be here with you today. I have someone very special. This amazing human being came into my world just about a year ago, and I had to bring her on the podcast because what she has done in that year and her story, well, one, you are going to connect and relate to it so much. And also, what she's done, it's going to blow your mind. And I think just really paint this beautiful picture of what's possible when you decide that you want a different life, you decide to start your own business, and then you let the business grow alongside your passions and you just create from your heart and joy and what you love doing. So, with no further ado, Holly, hi, I'm so happy that you're here today.
Hi, me too. I'm so glad to chat with you.
Yes. Well, tell everyone all about you, who you are, what you do, how you found the VA industry, why you decided to become a VA, all that good stuff.
My story really starts about 10 years ago. I had been thinking about, starting my own business as I had gotten married. We were thinking about starting a family, and I had always wanted to like homeschool and be home. So I thought, while the stakes are low, I'm going to start my business on the side while I still have my 9 to 5 and build it up. And then when we start our family, I'll be able to quit. It will be a big enough business I can quit and just like do that full time. Um, at that point, it didn't make sense for me to quit because my husband was really unhappy with his corporate job, and I really loved my 9 to 5 that I had then. Um, and so that didn't make any sense to keep him trapped in a job that he didn't like. So we shifted gears and made his exit strategy. And so he's one of those people that during 2020, he built up his business. And when they had the return back to work, back to the office, he put in his 2 weeks and never looked back. And so that made it a little bit more scary for me to branch out like on my own, because he is an up and coming business owner as well. About, let's see, about 2 years ago, my 9 to 5 was not as good as it was when we made the decision for me to stay. And I like to say in these 10 years that there was just a godly unrest in my heart. And that's probably why I wasn't happy with the 9 to 5 that I was at. I wasn't making the money that I wanted to make. I wasn't being promoted or appreciated for the work that I was doing, and I was doing more and more work. It's the classic case of like, you're good at your job, so here's more work. No more pay, that's off the table, but more work. And so it was just, and that's not where I was meant to be. So I quit that job and jumped into the worst job of my entire life, which was a corporate marketing agency. And that's what's got me here today. So I say it was the worst job, but I guess it got me here today. I knew fully what I was going into because I had some friends that worked in that business. But it's the most toxic environment that I have ever worked in. I was making more money, but what led me here today is actually around about this same time. If listeners are listening to this story in real time, about this time at Christmas, I walked into a meeting where I thought I was getting promoted because I was already doing the job that the manager, the position above me, was doing. It was vacant. It was a management position. I was already doing the job while they worked on filling the position. And they had talked to me about the promotion and offered me a salary that was at least $20,000 less than other people in the same position. So we're not talking about like $5,000, or we're talking like $20,000 less than others in the same position. And I said I wanted to be making what other management roles were making if I'm going to make transitioned to the promotion, walked into this meeting thinking they were like, okay, let's promote you, just to be told they're rescinding the offer. And I was not ready all of a sudden for a promotion. Um, and after that meeting, I spent the next 30 minutes trying to compose myself enough to make it to my son's first Christmas concert of his entire life, with a smile on my face so that he was happy. And that's when my husband was like, quit, don't even go in tomorrow. I took a couple of days off. I regrouped, but it was then that I was like, this is not the life that I want. I know my worth. I know what I can do. I know I do good work. And I've got to do something different. And my marketing side gig, it never really took off because I always had a 9 to 5. I was never just working on the business. And the people I worked with knew I had a 9 to 5 and I was doing it in my spare time and stuff like that. So I had a few clients that worked with me at that point, but it was not like somebody wanted to give me their entire marketing
Mm.
department that I could run after I put my son down at night. And so I was like, I'm just taking the leap. Like at this point, I'll do anything else. Literally anything. I'll sell feet pictures. Like I've got to make ends meet.
OnlyFans.
I'm like, I will do literally anything else when I'm gonna build up this business. And that's when you entered my life at that same time too. I heard about your free 3-day challenge. I'm like, it's free. I got some time on my hands. Like, let's see. I read more into like I had actually hired a virtual assistant at my first 9 to 5, and it was like a glorious relationship. And the whole time that I worked with her, I was like, I want to do what you're doing. Like, can we switch switch positions? And so really after taking the 3-day challenge, I built up the foundations to launch the virtual assistant business. And honestly, I didn't change anything, but the package it was in, based on like things I learned in your class and from mom to VA and stuff like that. I took what I was doing, all of my same services, and I just packaged it as a virtual assistant service. I did my portfolio, I did all of that um, as a virtual assistant. I didn't even change my prices. Like I was still charging what I wanted to make. But instantly when I'm like, I quit my job, I'm doing this full time, I'm offering virtual assistant services, and this is what they are. That I had 2 clients that I was already working with who upped what they were spending with me a month. And
Amazing.
and now, not even like just a year later, I'm making more than I was at my corporate job. So with no cap, that's
Yeah.
that's the bigger thing. I'm like, I can make as much as I want to, or take time off, when I want to.
Yeah.
So
And
completely
you,
different. Yeah, completely different life this year.
so beautiful. And you homeschool your son too.
And we homeschool our son. Yeah.
Wow. You
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
have it
yeah.
all. Oh, there's so many gold nuggets to dive into. Um, One, I want to touch on just the synchronicity. I love how you said when in your first corporate job, you're working with the VA and you have this like big, shiny, fun job that like quote unquote, I like relate so much in my corporate job. Like you should be grateful for it. Like you've made it. And you're like, man, what they're doing looks really fun, but like I shouldn't want this because I have the career. And just like what I feel like life is like that, like those beautiful like synchronicities and crumbs that if you pay attention to, you're like, oh wow. Like for example, when you had that thought, if anyone had told you that you'd be here today, would you have said, you're crazy?
Yes, yes, because that was not the trajectory that I saw for my life. I'm like, um, I saw like I was gonna be the CEO of this business, and now I was in the tourism industry before working for a visitor center. And that was, I went to school to do that. Like, so that's my whole goal is to be a CEO over a destination marketing organization. And now that I'm out of that field altogether, first it felt weird, but then second, I'm like, actually, there's a lot of good that, I left a lot of negativity behind in that kind of world working on my own. And I can tiptoe back in with I've got some tourism clients, I could tiptoe back in that way, but not dive as deep in that I was. But I'll tell you this. So, another funny story is like going through your classes and stuff helped me decide how to market myself and decide how to market my business in a way that actually like attracts clients.
Mm.
Um, and the first thing that my husband said is I was like, I'm gonna rebrand it to like a virtual assistant business, not like you're not hiring a marketing agency, you're hiring a virtual assistant because I think people understand that a little bit more what it is and it doesn't sound as scary. It doesn't sound as scary to hire a virtual assistant versus hiring a marketing agency. And he was like, well, like, but you don't want to be like answering somebody's like emails or stuff, like answering their phone calls, do you? And I was like, yeah. If they pay me my rate, I don't care
Do
what they want me
anything.
to do.
I'll
I'll
do
do
feet
it.
pictures. No.
Yeah, I'm like, if they're willing to pay my rate for me to answer their phone, I will answer their phone. Because this is the life that I want. I want to work with clients that I want to work with. I want to live life on my own terms. And I don't want somebody telling me how much I can make in a year. I want to make money for the work I am doing.
Oh, I love that. I think that's such a fun point too that you bring up and that I think, for those of you who are listening now where if you've ever considered being a VA, but you've thought I don't want to be an assistant for the rest of my life, I think Holly, you brought up such a good point that like I'd love for everyone to just absorb is that the VA is an industry, virtual assistant industry. Within that, you can specialize in anything. You can be the social media expert, you can be the marketing expert. Like in some ways it is just semantics, but I think that's cool because some people I've seen like limit themselves. They're like, well, I don't want to just be a VA. And I'm like, no, you can actually be like a director of operations inside of the VA industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it is. Like when I first launched, I was doing a little bit more of the administrative task. And now in just like a year's time, I like to say like I'm in the sweet spot where like I don't have to have more clients to pay my bills. It's just like extra income. So I can charge whatever I want. And if they want to pay it, then they pay it, and if that's too expensive for them, then I'm not their person because I have some goals that I want to reach, and I'm at a point where now I'm not doing the administrative task, or I'm just doing the task that I like. And that's one thing that's been fun is I have all of these services, and I've been hired for pretty much all of my services. And now that I've been doing it for a year, I'm like, well, I really don't like doing this. So I'm not going to offer that anymore. Or, I mean, I'll have it on my list or whatever, or I'll hire it out or something. But I really like doing this more. So I'm going to try to get more clients where I can do this instead of this. So that's been fun. And like you said, as you get more of those skills built up, you get more clients behind you and people recommending you to other people, you can increase your rates and increase the level of the people that are hiring you.
Yeah, I love this. And on that note too, you had made a comment about, how your income is limitless and you can earn what you want to earn. Let's dive into that because there's like two trains of thought. A lot of people when they start out as VAs, they're like, "Yay, $30 an hour, $300 a month," which is great. Like, go get your first client, but and also you're passionate about this is like there's another way where truly what you earn is limitless. You don't price based on your time. And but it's like it's hard to wrap your head around if you're not familiar with that concept because literally from, the day we were born and work, it's like you trade your time for money. That's like what you do societally. So, can you talk a little bit about that, about your experience, like even the mindset and then some of the things you've implemented in your business to be able to earn what you want to earn?
Sure, yeah. So I offer three different ways of charging, and really I want to meet the client where they are at. And so I'll offer project cost, where if they just have a one-off project, I have a cost for that. I do have an hourly rate, although it's my least favorite way to charge. Or you can have me on retention month to month, which is my favorite way to charge. Um, but I'll tell you this, I've had clients that progress, and one of the biggest things that I've learned and tried to practice, and of course you've got like templates and stuff and Mom to VA that really help um, with this is selling yourself. Like you have to believe in like what you're doing. And a perfect example is I signed on a real estate client, marketing client that he wanted everything like copywriting, branding, Facebook community engagement. Like he wanted the whole kit and caboodle. So and he was currently using an overseas virtual assistant business because they can charge a lot less overseas. So needless to say, my rates were triple what he was paying. But I was able to talk to him about like I'm not just going to post to your Facebook page. I'm not just going to send out a basic email to your email list. I'm going to give you a strategy, a whole marketing strategy behind what we're doing and why we're doing it, which is what he wanted. So he hired me first to do a marketing strategy, and then he hired me to do a branding strategy, and then he hired me on for my monthly retainer rate. So sometimes it's like a step stool, but I love to say like I stole somebody from a virtual assistant agency that was charging $10 an hour and was making $3,000 an hour a month with him for doing his marketing. So it can be done. I don't like to see people get discouraged because there are people who offer lower rates or whatever, or you never want to lower your rates to try to price match it because for me, my time is valuable. I know everybody's time is valuable, but just from my perspective, I'm like, every minute I'm spending on work is a minute I'm not spending with my family, is a minute I'm not exercising, is a minute, I'm not taking care of myself. So I want to make sure that my time is, or that I feel like I'm being adequately paid. And if you're not, if you charge below what you feel like that's worth, you're just going to start resenting it and it's not going to be fun and it's going to feel like work and it's going to struggle and it's going to put you right back into the mindset that you were in that you want to be out of. So that's what.
I love that. Yeah, yeah. And we should caveat too, like there's like I always say and think that like go get your first role, like even if the rate's much lower, like you'll get the confidence. So there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like we're all here. You're listening to this right now because you have big goals and dreams and you want freedom in your life and you want to be able to earn whatever you want to earn. And so that's, kind of calibrating to that. But there's nothing wrong with like hourly rates and getting started, whatever. Get someone who will pay you as a VA and you're gonna just grow from there. Like the confidence, the momentum compounds from there.
Mhm. And there are situations that it makes more sense to be paid
Mhm.
hourly for it, and I've learned that over the year too. Like if you're working with a startup business that they really don't know what their workload is, maybe you start off hourly there
Yeah.
um, until things like level out.
Hmm.
But yeah, I definitely when I launched the business, I was going for jobs that were and talking to clients that the rate wasn't exactly where I wanted to be at long term, but now they're where I want them to be.
Hmm.
So, and
I
that's
love
like
that.
less than a year. I officially launched the business March 1st. So I just started working on it around this time last year. So I would say from launch to now, I'm where I want to be paid.
Mm.
Um, and that's insane to me.
So cool. Less than a year. What is it like, just out of curiosity, to have like your partner is also an entrepreneur? So to have, both sides be on entrepreneurship and like healthcare and like all that, like talk to us. How does that work?
Yeah, well, it can be stressful. And we've had to set some boundaries in our home as far as work is concerned. Because when you own your own business, you can be on all the time if you want to. So we've had to set your phones have like do not disturb that you can turn on certain times of the night, which we have. We both have our own offices, so we like to close the door. Sometimes I will turn my computer off because just the mental thing of like, oh, I want to go answer this email. Well, I already turned my computer off. I don't want to turn my computer all the way back on. So just
Smart.
some of those, yeah, some of those like mental things definitely help with it. But I would say my husband is like my biggest cheerleader. And I mean, he was telling me to quit my jobs like when I'm like, if I quit my job, we cannot pay our bills. And he's like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Like, quit it. So that's definitely been helpful, but it is amazing to be able like I have to try to stop and remind myself instead of like going for the next thing, going for the next thing, going for the next thing. I have to stop and remind myself like this is the life that 10 years ago he and I were dreaming about. Like we wanted to homeschool our son, which we're doing. We wanted to live life on our own terms, which we're doing. We wanted to travel, which we're doing, which was one of the reasons why we wanted to homeschool our son, because we want to travel whenever we want to travel. We don't want to be on a school schedule. Um, and we're doing that. Like, this is what he's got his dream job. I've got my dream job. We've got our son that we're homeschooling at home. We have time freedom, income freedom. So it's amazing where we're at right now.
Oh, that's incredible. What a beautiful thing. Like, and I hope all of you see this as evidence and testament to like, you can do this too. Like, and on that note, because we are getting close to time too, Holly, what would you say? Like, first, someone who's listening right now who is like, gosh, I really want that. I want the freedom, like the income, like all the things. What would you say to them as far as like, this is what you should do? Here's your next steps, all the things.
So I'm a huge planner. I am not a jump off the cliff person. And even with all the planning that we did to start this business and that I did to start this business, it still felt like a leap of faith. But I knew in my heart that this is what God was leading me to do. And I wish I would have listened to it like 10 years ago. Where would I be right now if I had? But I felt like I didn't have the right support. And then that's when like you came along like right at the right time that kind of gave me that push. Like you've been planning for it. You have a plan in place. We're in a good spot financially. So, and what I did when I say I planned, like when Corey we made his exit plan, it was we paid off our cars. We paid off all of our debt except for our house. Um, we started saving some money aside so that like if this goes to hell in a handbasket, we're not gonna be on the street because that's my first thought. I think that's a lot of women's first thought. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I could be living on the street next year. That's the worst thing that could
You could
happen.
be selling feet pics.
It's like there's no in between. It's yeah. So he picks her. I'm like, on the street begging for food. So there's no in between. Those are the options. So we really put some things into place that way for me to feel financially stable. You're never going to feel 100% ready because it's new, it's different. I grew up where nobody was a business owner. And not only that, nobody encouraged anybody to be a business owner. It was, you don't want to be a business owner, like just stay in your stable job, da da da. for the rest of your life and retire. So it was a big, scary thing for me to do. But you have to have, for me, I had to have a plan and I had to have that group of people that were encouraging me. And that is what Mom to VA provided for me. And of course, when you click on one thing, one ad, you get served all the ads. And so I looked at a couple of different groups before I committed. And to be honest, Bree, you were like the most authentic person. You responded to messages like right away. In fact, I spent, and I don't know if it was you or Mel now, but it doesn't matter. I'm like, I messaged you one night when I was still like contemplating what to do, a question, and I was like, oh, I'm like, it's kind of late, but I was like, oh, I'll just message her on Facebook or whatever. She's probably not going to answer me back anyway. And it was like ding right back. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, so it's just like those things like that, like, and then the support of the group, all of those things, along with the plan that Mom to VA has in place. It's not like these are things that I hadn't thought of that I needed, but I'm like, I could take the time to go and research contracts and da 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 da, or those different kinds of things that you have in Mom to VA. Or I could just buy into this program and it's all done for me, and somebody's already done the planning for me. And I can follow instructions really well. So I just followed those steps and I'm like, bam, business done, job quit, business launched, clients coming in.
Oh, I love that. Yes. I mean, it's so true. It's like anyone can become a VA. You could go Google, like, there's a million things that will tell you how to do it. But I think, like, to your point, and this is how I've made decisions too in growing my business, is like, I don't want to do the trial and error. Like, we're moms, we're busy, like, we want freedom. Like, to me, freedom is having someone who's done it, like, be like, okay, this, and here's your contract template, and here's your portfolio template. You're like, okay, great, let's go.
Yeah, done. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just committed to myself that I'm just going to take like the next step. Like I'm not going to think like am I going to be able to afford my bills next year? I'm going to go in, I'm going to build my portfolio. Okay, I'm going to like write my announcement post for Facebook. I'm going to update my headshot. I'm going to, and I just did it that way. Like some of the things I think in the group, maybe it was like Mel or somebody was like, well, have you done this yet? And I'm like, no, I'm on step 4 and I'm not thinking about step 8 yet.
Oh, I love that.
I'm not there.
That's smart though, because sometimes when you try to do it all at once, it's overwhelming and then you get stalled and it feels like so much that it's just paralyzing. So I love
Yeah.
that. And that
Yeah.
was like intentionally, I designed the program that way where it's like piece by piece and then there's like accountability action time. Like, did you do this before you move on to the next? So I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk before we wrap up because I also think this part of your story is just so cool in painting the picture of you become a VA, you start your business, you start dreaming and you follow the breadcrumbs. And so, can you share also what you have created this year that's kind of come as a result of you stepping into entrepreneurship and becoming a VA who specializes in marketing?
Yes. So and I say we because my virtual assistant I mentioned earlier, who became one of my really good friends, and she is a business owner. We started a free group for women entrepreneurs called the Launch Ladies, and this is so exciting. And it's for anybody in any business. And I think the value in that is that the women in our group can actually do business with each other. So you have like small boutique owners, you've got some virtual assistants, we've got all kinds. We've got some people that own a resort is in here. So yeah, we've got all kinds of business owners in this group that can support each other. And one thing that has also been on my heart that I'm listening to all of my heart from now on since it's worked out so well is that I want to help small business owners grow. And a lot of times a small business owner, they can't hire a marketing agency to get the support that they want, or they can't afford like my services on their own. So we were like, this is a place where it's like one to many group where we can help business owners grow, and they can get it at an affordable price. So we've got the free group that you can join. And then for those women who are ready to just like really step it up and go headstrong into the year, we have a membership group called the Inner Circle, the Launch Ladies Inner Circle. And this group, we have quarterly boot camps on a deep dive into a specific subject. And these are not general overview topics. We are doing a training on Meta Business Suite. Pull up your Meta Business Suite, and we're going to go point by point. I'm going to show you how to place an ad. I'm going to show you how to look at your analytics and get it working for you. So, um, and then along with that, we have in the inner circle, we have monthly office hours with me and Stephanie, where you can basically have, I like to say, in our membership, you basically have a marketing agency and business consultants that you can talk to on the regular. And it's super affordable too. So we have office hours with me and Stephanie, but we also have like press opportunities where you could get some free press for your business. We have grant opportunities and funding opportunities, and we have kind of a little classroom of how to start and run your business. That's got everything from contracts and business plans to trainings on how to use Canva and stuff like that. So it's just a wealth of information, both in the free group and the paid group. But we're so excited, and we're helping small business owners. And it just like makes my heart happy when I talk to one of the members that's like, oh yeah, I bought this from this other member, like I'm using I went to this person's store because I met her in the group. And so it's been a lot of fun.
That is absolutely amazing. So basically, if you're an entrepreneur or you want to be an entrepreneur, you're listening to this, Holly's free group and her membership is the place to be. So we'll make sure we put those in the show notes. Everyone go check it out. Join her group, membership if you're looking to build your business, like to have a marketing agency on demand, basically, to help you with marketing, like that is invaluable. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and if you're a virtual assistant, it's a two-sided thing because like I said, we're attracting businesses that are like boutique owners and stuff like that that need your services, that could use your help with everything they need. And then also you can get help with your own marketing business, with marketing your own business in that. So you have basically a group of leads, hot leads that you can work
Wow.
with side by side too.
It's a no-brainer. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Holly, for joining me today. It's just been so fun to hear your story, like in depth, because of course, I've known it, but I'm like, oh, like, I mean, just what full circle? Like, those are the words that come to mind. Your story is just full circle from like 10 years ago. Like, this is the ultimate manifestation of your dream life, and you
Yeah,
made it happen.
from 10 years ago, but even when I launched in March, I was like, I just did not see myself here. So and you and I've talked about it, like this moment in time right now is so surreal to me because even when I launched then, I did not see my life being less stressful at this moment. And Tucker has his next, he's in the Nutcracker. So this is like his next Christmas performance. And I'm like, this
Wow.
time I have not missed a practice. I have been at everything. I'm volunteering to help because I have time to do that. I'm not grumpy because I've been up since 4 o'clock working, and I can just like fully enjoy the moment where I couldn't last year. And so it's just so full circle, surreal. I'm in an amazing part in my life. This is a great chapter.
Oh my gosh, that actually gave me the goosebumps just to imagine like you showing up at the is it the Nutcracker last year too? Like showing up at that last year right after your job had said, actually, no, sorry. To
Yeah.
like this year, you're like, I have it all.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
my gosh, that is beautiful. I also think it's fun. This is like anecdotal side note, but you are also helping with the challenge this year that you like participated in last year. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, that definitely helps with the surrealness of it as I'm looking through the challenge. And I had saved all my emails from the challenge last year and I was going through and I was like, I was in a different place last year. This is amazing.
Wow.
This is so fun.
All just so full circle. I love it. Well, thank you, Holly. And you guys make sure you check out the show notes. Go check out Holly's group and her membership. And yeah, this was so much fun. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right.